Hi guys, this is Leilani Humphrey, and I'm doing this little short video. Depends on how short it is. How short it is depends on whether I'm interested in what bad sign, what I plan to say. The Little Mermaid. Oh my gosh, when I was little, I was so happy to watch The Little Mermaid when I first saw it. It was because there was so many things preventing me from seeing it in the first place. Is because we weren't allowed to see it. There was so many supernatural things that was presented to us in The Little Mermaid. For example, King Triton, he was like a fish man, and he was supposed to be a king in a kingdom under the sea. He had daughters named Atita, or Atida, Alana, Adela, Aquata, Arista, Adrena, and Ariel. He had this little three-piece sword, and it was to do some magic or whatever. And the sea witch wanted the sword so she could have her own kingdom or whatever, and turn everybody into sea cucumbers and little demons and whatever. And she used their weaknesses against them. Like if they wanted someone as a mate, she used that weakness against them. And against her sister's wishes, Ariel, she didn't want to be a princess. She wanted to go off and explore above the sea. She wanted to lust after people. She wanted to lust after the things of this world, and she did not know how good she had it in this little seashell community she was living in. And so she wanted to explore. The thing I hate about Ariel is that she was really small-minded, and she wanted to be a little singer, and she wanted to do this, that, and the other. Nothing wrong with, going after your dreams, but you have to listen to people of experience, like your sisters that are older than you, that have been there before. They all wanted to explore. Maybe they didn't show it in the movie, but that's all about how a teenager feels. Oh, you want to you want to find someone of your dreams. You want to be seen for who you are. Your beauty within. That's not important if nobody's showing you the love and the attention that you think you deserve. So King Triton, he had so many obligations to fulfill to his kingdom. He wanted to help everybody feel on the same plane, the rich or the poor or whatever. And he had no time for all his daughters. For God's sake, he had 7 of them. So little Ariel, she was supposed to be preparing for the ball, that King Triton was throwing. And so, but she just wanted to wander off, and she bumped into the sea witch, and she had so much powers, and she had demands of her own. She wanted people to sell their soul to her and give her all of their powers, like if they had talent or whatever and they didn't see their true worth, this sea queen would, say, alright, I'll take your voice. I'll take the voice and put it in my little magic voice box. And then you'll have nothing. You want that? Okay. What's your desire of me? What do you want? Oh, you want to kiss the boy? All right. Well, if you don't have a voice, how are you going to attract the boy? How are you going to this, that, and the other? And she said, I can do what I want to do, and you can work all these spells on me, but love will prevail. Love will prevail, and I'll get everything I want. Well, when you make a deal with the devil, you're not going to get everything you want. You're going to get more and more trials and tribulations, and you're going to see that your grass wasn't greener on the other side. People that are aboard the ship, have fantasies of meeting the mermaid, or being a mermaid, and people that are the mermaid have fantasies of having legs, and nobody's satisfied with how God made them. So basically that's what happens. But what really scared me about this movie is that, oh my gosh, when I was little, I really, really, really wanted to watch The Little Mermaid, but we was like, it was like warned that impressionistic children shouldn't see this because it's like, it plays on their minds. They want to, snap back at their parents, and they want to do all sorts of things they want to do. Some things aren't all that wrong, and some things are very scary, like wandering off and going on a ship that you could get attacked by sharks, and wandering off into secret places. Like in the real world, you're not supposed to go jogging by yourself. You're not supposed to make shortcuts and try to get home from school earlier. You're not supposed to climb out the window and go to your friend's house when your parents say no. You're not supposed to walk through dark alleys and knock on people's doors and ride and take ride with strangers. You're not, for all you know, they could be sharks. Not sharks, but they could actually be harmful people. People that you'll ever regret meeting. So that's that Little Mermaid. If you want to let your children watch The Little Mermaid, be my guest, but it's bad to watch The Little Mermaid when you're like 2 and 3 years old. I watched The Little Mermaid when I was 5 years old, and I was having, little bad dreams and I resented watching it. But if you want to let your little kid watch The Little Mermaid, be my guest. It has so many backward messages, like who does that? Who ignores, the little kid, if they want to be a songbird, if they want to be a dancer, if they want to do this, that, and the other. Why are you going to let some sea witch get to them and exploit their vulnerability? And why are you going to let people of this world hear them out before you do? You're supposed to know their talents. You're supposed to know their abilities, and you're supposed to, hear them out. You're not supposed to push them into the arms of someone who means no good to them, like danger or whatever. Shout out to all the single moms out there that actually make sacrifices and do their part. Single dads too, families too, But, sometimes you could be so rich and you don't have a clue, that love is all we need. love helps us to grow. Whatever. So that's the moral of the story of King Triton and his daughters. Now, the next one I want to talk about is, one second, it's Bambi. How you gonna let your little child watch Bambi? It's like so depressing, If you're like in the nursery and you let those little children watch Bambi all the time, think twice. First of all, these settlers, they're going into territory that belongs not to them. They're not supposed to be poaching. They're not supposed to be, killing little deers. If it's not for the venison, if it's not for the good of, of your health and, something. If it's just for game and sports, why are you gonna rush into the territory? And it's typical because in our American history, we went into lands that were populated by the American Indians, and they owned the lands. They just wanted to share and be hospitable, but they owned the lands. Then we came in here, and the white man, he wanted to chase all the buffalo with their big old guns. They wanted to take the buffalo and use them for their skins to make their purses and their hide to make their shoes, and they wanted to sell the hide. They wanted to make profit. They wanted a lot of profit. They wanted to use the meat, but they also wanted to say, oh look, I'm gonna hang up some big buffalo head on my ceiling. I'm gonna hang big buffalo and reindeer on my walls. I'm gonna put I'm gonna start opening these bars, and I'm gonna make all these Indians drunk, and I'm just gonna get them hooked on alcohol. I'm gonna get them hooked on every drug possible to make them happy enough to give us all their land, and they live on a little tiny piece of land. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna kill all of their livestock. We're gonna we're just gonna ravage their women and their children. We're gonna exploit their children. We're gonna make their children grow up with our children. We're gonna take their wives when they're not looking because they're busy getting drunk. We're gonna take their coyote dogs, and we're gonna make this coyote dogs our wild game. Because we're gonna train their children like our children. We're gonna make their children read all of these books about us to make us look good, make us look like we're kings and queens and they're the savages. We're gonna do so much more harm than good. And we're gonna come to these people's lands. We're gonna give them blankets, making it look like it's a gift, but it really has smallpox. So we can kill their population, and we can and we can feed wine, so that these guys can lose their ability to shoot a bow and arrow straight to kill our little asses. And then we're going to kill all their buffaloes so they don't have no way to keep warm during the winter. You know, we're gonna settle all over the place and put our little cottages up. We're gonna kill everybody that's not white. So that's what the truth of the matter is that these people that they just don't mind, letting pride get in the way of true humanity. And sometimes they live right next door to you and me. And you think they have changed and stuff, but what really takes a change is to turn off the TV and stop watching these cowboy and Indian shows and stop telling lies in schools that these people was kings and queens and princesses, when we know good and well that they stole everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. So stop buying into the lies that Bambi and his family, it was just the food chain. It was like the bottom of the food chain. They was just grass eaters and little they was food. They was made to be venison. They was made to be venison for our tummies, They was made to pleasure our people, and our people are so fat like slobs. So we just gonna overeat, overstuff our bellies so nobody else can have something to eat. They just have to go somewhere else and look further else where the white man hasn't explored. So if y'all wanna give kudos to Christopher Columbus, be my guest. And you want to give kudos to Pocahontas because she a sellout or survivor, be my guest. If y'all want to be like Mowgli, okay, be my guest. If you want to be like Tarzan, be my guest, because I think the brown people are civilized. I think the brown people are not savages. I think they showed the way of surviving on little to no means during winters, on curing the smallpox that the settlers had, curing the little disease, all their nasty diseases that they spread. Like the little nasty venereal diseases. They spread that stupid shit. So, if you want to believe the stories that you hear that are in your little textbooks, be my guest. But ask questions to everybody else, read real books, if you can't find real books to read, write real books, because we don't need to read these lies that say, the things that we do in the toilet smell so good, and everything's a bed of roses, and nothing's wrong with what I did in the past. The past is the past. So it just happens that these little American Indians, I'm sad because they don't live to see 100. They don't, they want to be on the little reservation. They want to, that I know of, and they, want to be in the white, they want to act white and stuff. Drinking wine and alcohol, working in these taverns. Probably dating white girls. all that good stuff. And I see that in the communities today, where we get all these boys wanting to date white girls. All these brothers want to date white girls. All these sisters want white men. You know, the minute they get off poverty line, they want white people. But when we're poor, when we're in the gutter, living in the gutter, white people's too good for us. But when we get an education and good jobs and everything, all of a sudden, everybody knows us, everybody knows our name, you know, stuff like that. And I want y'all to open your eyes, and just know that when you're being used. I'm not saying all people is bad, but just open your eyes, know when you're being used, and just keep living the dream of Dr. King, when he says, I have a dream. He delivered a speech called I Have a Dream. It was at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. in August 28th, 1963. So I want y'all to keep living Martin Luther King's dream, where the white boys hold their hands with the white girls, and the black boys hold the hands with the black girls, and they all singing Free at Last, Let Freedom Ring, and things like that. But if you're not singing Free at Last and Let Freedom Ring, what are you singing? What are you doing? What are you doing, guys? What are you doing? I know what I'm doing is I'm putting my little pretty face here trying to tell y'all a little secret message is to steer clear of trouble. If you see trouble staring you down, don't turn and walk away. Run away from trouble. Run away from trouble if you see it staring you down. And trouble starts really little, really cute, in the form of these little fairy tales that say, oh, little children, don't mind the obvious things. We're just going to steal a few of your little livestock. We're just going to shoot some of your people down. We're just going to use Tarzan to knock a few people out. And we're going to give him clothes to wear. We're going to reward him for doing that. Just bear in mind that sometimes these little cartoons put subliminal messages in your child heart that say little different people, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like Belle and Beauty and the Beast. You want to point out people's differences. You want to tease people. You want this. You want to think you're better than. You want to think you're cute. But a wise man once said, do not sit in the seat of the scornful. Do not, This man walketh not. Do not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, and do not stand in the way of sinners. So there you have it. Do not coddle people that's doing wrong, and you know it. Do not stand in their way of reading the truth and knowing the truth. If I come up to them and I say, you know you're doing wrong, you know this is not right, and you go and say, oh, this is mean heifer. She's just not telling you the right things. She's supposed to say it in love, and you don't listen to that heifer no more. Alright, you're still not doing the right things. But somebody come and says, alright, the heifer, stay away from her. You is not going to hell. You just stick with me. We'll do our little stinky stuff, sly stuff on the side, and we just get away with plain murder. Because in the end, everybody's gonna be the same. Everybody's gonna love one another, pat each other on the back, and the world is gonna be a better place, and everybody can mind their business. Well, the truth of the matter, it's better to have the approval of the Almighty God than the kiss of a friend. Because the kiss of a friend is not going to have the approval. It's not going to have the approval of God in the end. So standing in the way of sinners is like not giving them the correct tone, the correct advice, but you're standing in their way of getting the correct advice, of receiving the correct advice, and not pointing them to the water when they're thirsty. That's what standing in the way of sinners means. So people in the church have sometimes been there 100 years, and they're all standing in the way of sinners because they're either sitting on the seat of the scornful and saying, oh, that man, he's coming up in here, he all drunk, and he stink, and he reeks. That's sitting in the seat of the scornful. So, you're calling somebody a loser that somebody else probably sent to the doors to get the help that they needed. And you're also standing in the way of sinners because they could get the proper advice from a different channel that might take them to the house and get them the service that they need and the bath that they need and the detoxifications that they need. But since they bumped into you at the church first and they was like, I ain't coming back here, I could go to wherever I want and get better service, like the tavern, back to the bar. I can get somebody to listen to what I have to say. So, see, the people that was sitting in the seat of the scornful, they missed their blessing by not reading the word of the very wise counsel of God. That's found from Genesis to Revelation in the Holy Lord's Gospel. So you see what I mean? And you be like, why? Who gave this fool the right to talk to me like that? See? You're sitting in the seat of scornful when you call me a fool. And when you call me a fool, you condemning your own self to God's wrath. Okay? So if you want to condemn yourself to God's wrath, read what happened to the people that condemned themselves to God's wrath. In Exodus, Moses was told, let my people go. Moses said, I I do not want to tell Pharaoh to let my people go, for fear that Pharaoh might he might tear me to shreds, he might laugh. And I grew up with Pharaoh and his kind, and I know what they do to people that go against what they say and what they believe. So, once again, word of the Lord came to Moses, said, Moses, tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Moses was like, can't you send somebody else? I'm kind of like the prince, next to Pharaoh. I'm next in line to the Pharaoh. Can't you just send somebody else? My career is popping. I'm doing so good. Can't you just send somebody else? These Israelites, they want to be slaves in Egypt. They have all the meat they want to eat, all the onions and leeks they want to eat. They have anything they want is in Egypt. But if Pharaoh lets the people go, what are they gonna drink in the desert? What are they gonna eat? If we let the people go, they don't have enough means to survive. What if they step on the scorpions? How are they gonna survive? So at that time, Moses probably doubted, but he was like, alright, fine, but you put the words in my mouth to speak. What am I going to carry? I don't have a weapon. And God said, see what's in your hand? It's a rod. So you're going to take this rod, and you're going to cast it on the ground. And Pharaoh says, who commands you? How dare you? Said, I am that I am sent me. And he told me to tell you, Pharaoh, to let my people go. So Pharaoh was like, see, Ramses was like, see, we knew this little one was strange. And the princess, she took him out the river when he was a baby, saved him from the crocodiles, and nursed him as if he was her very own. But we always had our doubts about this little one. The other little Egyptian boys, they seem to fall right into line. But Amram and Jochebed, they taught this little boy, and babysat for this little kid. So eventually he knew that he was supposed to do something very special one day, and he was not like the other Egyptians. So if you stand in the way of sinners trying to get to the promised land, like if they want to get to Canaan, you want them to stay in Egypt because you think it's stupid. Read what happened in Exodus. There was plagues like Pharaoh had never seen before. The water turned into blood and smelling foul for 3 and 4 days. flies coming to the waters, pitching flies in your food. Everything smelling bad. No water to drink, no water to bathe in for so many days. So you have to call for Pharaoh, call for Moses, and say, please turn the water back clear and get all out of the river now. Get all these flies out of here, because they're buzzing in my ears and my eyes and everywhere, and I can't sleep. Then Moses was like, would you let my people go if I do all of this for you? Like, oh yeah, I'll let your people go. If that's what you will get all these flies and all this reeking, stinking blood out of my water supply, I will let your people go. They ain't no good anyway. So, what would you say about people they're smart enough to serve you and to work for you and your company, and you want to kick them out, and you want to call them all sorts of this, that, and the other, when they, when you think their services are no longer required, better think twice, because you're sitting in the seat of the scornful. So, it's no sooner than Moses and his people was like, pack up, let's go. We're leaving Egypt. And no longer be slaves. No longer be whipped by taskmasters. You'll no longer have to do this, that, and the other. You'll no longer have to wipe the snot off of people's nose. You'll no longer have to be away from your children to raise somebody else's children that are in the palace. You can raise your own children. You can go to the land flowing with milk and honey. You can do all of that. Stand in the way of sinners. Pharaoh was like, oh hell no. So it was like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to do that? All his consultants was like, are you sure you want to stand in the way? So far, Moses has made a serpent. He casts his rod down and a serpent, and it turns into a serpent. So far, our other magicians tried to do the same trick, and Moses' rod ate all the rest of the serpents that the magicians and sorcerers tried to throw down, made their rod turn into. And the magicians look stupid without rods now. And you sure you want to now get on Moses' bad side? He has more powers than the powerful and the elite in Pharaoh's court. And Pharaoh's not listening. He's not listening. At this point, he's like so scornful. He's like, alright, the flies came, the flies left. The staff turned into a snake, but the snake turned back into a staff. Everything that's done can be undone, but I want Moses and his people in Egypt. So, make us long story short, the Egyptian was like, I'm just gonna have to keep calling Moses and his family until they get sick of it, and they'll stay in Egypt and meet my approval and come to my beck and call. because there's no gods in the desert. Only scorpions and poisonous snakes. So, and there's the Red Sea blocking you from getting to Canaan. So many boulders and the Red Sea and so many things. And there's like so many people, that could get hungry. How's Moses going to take care of all these people? So, Moses was like, oh man, this is sickness. So, no sooner than I leave, that's when the boy want me to come back to the courts, and he doesn't want to let my people go. And he was like, alright, this time, Moses and Aaron, alright, this is what you gotta do. We gotta start getting these frogs. And sure enough, frogs was all over the land of Egypt. And grasshoppers all over the land of Egypt. Eating all the people's food. But grains was stored away for the Israelites. And there was no harm done to the Israelites. And Pharaoh and his Egyptians took note. And some Egyptians joined the camp up with Moses and said, wherever y'all go, I go. Sayonara, Pharaoh. No sooner than that, darkness covered the land. And so if there's darkness and gross darkness, imagine the darkness that covered Egypt. And nobody in the whole king court in the whole Egypt could turn this darkness away. So it was just driving Pharaoh crazy. But in the other part of the land, it was clear as day. The skies was blue. Everything was good. The clouds and the sun was up. But all of Egypt, everything was not good. So, Pharaoh was like, I have to see if I can let these people go. It's just driving me crazy, but I have to let these people go. No, Pharaoh's people was like, please let these people go. Please let these people go. They're not working for us anyway. Their God seems to be the true God. Please let our people go. Let Moses' people and his people go before worse things fall upon us. And the next thing, worse things fell upon them. Boils. You get boils. Alright. Nowadays you get chicken pox. But on these people, it's like boils on their backside, boils on the bottom of their feet so they can't walk, on their back so they can't sit up, on the back so they can't lay down, on their thighs so they can't sit up. These boils was everywhere, and they was pussing up and busting, and it was just reeks of boils and other diseases. So Pharaoh was like, I'm sick of this. And so they called for Moses. He's like, I don't care what you have to do. Just let these boils come around. Get off of me and my people, and then we will consider letting your people go. So they was like, okay, but we can't trust this Pharaoh. because he's just going to change his mind and can't put up with this. So he was like, he just can't put up with this. If he changes his mind one more time, he might get super mad, and he's just gonna have intolerance for the children of Israel, and he's gonna try and smite us and kill us. And if that happens, we can never forgive Moses. So Moses was like, well, I've already been through my trials and tribulations, because what had happened was, when I had left the king's court for the very first time, a taskmaster was beating on a slave, and he was like, what you gonna do about it, Moses? What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? You're gonna beat him to his very last inch of his life. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? And Moses got so angry that God was like, oh, Moses, be careful. What you doing, son? What you doing? Moses took the taskmaster and choked him with his own whip. And he was like, and that's about it. I'm free to slave. But Moses could have done it a different way, so that he wouldn't fight fire with fire. Because when he killed that taskmaster, he did not know that there was other witnesses around, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell on Moses, and I'm gonna go straight to the king court and tell on Moses. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do." And the slave that he saved went and became very afraid of Moses, and he started telling everybody that had an ear, Moses killed the taskmaster. Moses killed the taskmaster. What's he gonna do to us? If he could kill the taskmaster, he gonna kill us too. So when you're just trying to do what's right, you can't do what's wrong in order to do what's right. That's all I have to say. So, don't stand in the counsel of the ungodly, don't stand in the way of sinners, and don't sit in the seat of the scornful. Well, Pharaoh, the biggest scornful there is, in the king's court, sitting on the throne, he had so much pride, he couldn't listen to nobody, and he was about to, get a lesson. Another lesson, and the final lesson, that's worse than all the lessons there is when your firstborn son and all the firstborn sons of Egypt is slain by the angels of death. That's when you know that you're supposed to not mess with Moses, Aaron, and his sisters. You're not supposed to lay a finger on God's people. But what the heck do you think this boy did? He's like, okay, I see your point. Now bring my only son back to life. Moses was like, I don't know. I only do the will of my God. I am that I am. No amount of golden calves can bring your son back to life. No amount of sorcerers is going to bring your son back to life. Okay? Now you have to let the people of Israel go. They're the only ones that listened and put blood on their doorposts. And maybe some of the Egyptians did too. They were like, oh no, 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 honey. We're not listening to everything that Pharaoh say. Because he's not all that good up in his head, And Ramses did not train his son properly back in those days. So, not listening to anything this boy says. So, bear that in mind when you watch these fairy tales that make it look like the poor and downtrodden and are outcasts. And Pharaoh and his army is all that and a bag of chips. Make sure you know that the poor in spirit are the most blessed in heaven, and the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So be careful when you criticize the people, because Peter and John went to pray in the city beautiful. And a certain beggar that had paralysis since he was born, was like, all I ask for is some money so that I can have some food to eat. All these people's passing by the beggar. But they was like, Peter and John was like, so compassionate. And they was like, oh beggar, silver and gold, if we had it to give, we would give. We don't have silver and gold, but thus that we have, we'll give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And this man, he went walking, leaping, praising God in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. He went through all the cities proclaiming the person that saved him and made him able to walk so that he could make a living for his family and start doing better than his circumstances had caused him to do, because by not being able to walk, it was impossible to make a living for your family back in those days. So I'll leave you now, and if you want me to tell you any more stories that really have meaning, let me know. Hit me up on the comment sections and tell me what you want me to tell you. So at this point, if you like what you hear, thumbs up. If you want me to stop being so mean, aggressive, I think about it, okay? Because my days of being quiet and meek and very quiet was in high school. Maybe you could catch me being very quiet and not speaking up. But nowadays, life is short. I'm gonna speak up. You guys gonna hear the truth from my little lips, because life is short and you need to be empowered. Your little impressionate mind needs to read some books. You need to be empowered. And you need to know that the first should be last, and the last will be first. And that there is no respect of persons with God. And you do not have to think that a very bad day is the end of your life. And your circumstances make you what you are, because you're more than precious. You are so loved. So I want you to remember that, and I do not want another person to say that you might as well end it here. You might as well not say I'm throwing in the towel. You might as well not say I'm gonna take a whiff of this and a whiff of that. I'm gonna snort this crack. I'm gonna try and get away from my situations by going drinking from the liquor shop. You gotta be sure that Everything that you do in secret will come to light. You know, when you open so many liquor shops on every block of my community, and everybody that looks like me comes, you know, everybody with this broad nose right here and my skin complexion comes to, you know, solve their problems and try to be more merrier, and by thinking that they can go in the liquor shop and have so much bubbly and and try to party away their circumstances, gamble the last bit of money that they have to see if they can be a little bit more merrier for the holidays, because otherwise they have nothing to live for and nobody gives them approval. Let you know God gives you the approval. I give you approval. Don't do this no more. Don't put money in people's pockets and destroy your body. Give your liver a chance. You know, because, you know, I might be an organ donor, but I do not want to donate my organ if you don't care. I don't care. So be very cautious about how you live, cautious about how you live on this earth. Eat right. Drink plenty of water. Drink nothing but water. So help you God. Drink nothing but water. Live properly. Try to read more books. Stimulate your mind. Stimulate your growth. Practice some math. Practice some sciences. Practice makes perfect. Goodbye. Signing out. Peace.